Hello, my name is Sam Weavers. I'm the MYP coordinator, and I'd like to introduce you to the MYP5 personal project video compilation. This is a showcase of all the effort that the MYP5 students have put into the personal project this year. Now, what is the personal project? It's a core requirement of completing the MYP5 program. It is a self-directed project based on a student's passion that is suitably challenging, is rooted in a global context, and it allows them to develop and demonstrate certain skills along the way. They produce a product, something that they're interested in sharing with you, and they keep a reflective journal of the whole process, detailing any thought processes they've gone through, any challenges they've had, and any solutions they've come up with. They're then required to write a 3,000-word report, which is submitted to the IB. So after that, what they've done is they've compiled short videos just to share with us all, the journey that they've been on in doing this personal project. So please sit back, relax, watch these videos and appreciate the hard work that the MYP5 students have put in.
Hi, my name is Ali, and I am a student in MYP5. With my personal project, I wanted to combine two things together that I was personally interested in and had experience with to better convey my message. So, I decided to choose something that had not only become a big part of my life recently, but also the lives of millions of others: video games and their effects on our mental health. When considering the global context for my project, it was a fairly easy choice. I decided to go with identities and relationships, so I could look at how toxicity has ruined relationships as it messes with our brains and clouds our judgment. The overall aim of my project was to make aware and educate people about video games and the toxicity that players of those games experience on a daily basis. I also wanted to educate people about how those interactions over the internet can affect a person's self-esteem and mental health. The process of the overall project was fairly simplistic. I wanted to focus more of my time and energy towards doing my research rather than designing my report and my product itself. With a topic that was this vast and this big, I wanted to focus more on my research, as the more data I could collect, the more clearly I could convey my message. In regards to my satisfaction with my project, I would say personally I am very satisfied with how it turned out. I feel like everything that I worked on conveys my message clearly. And while working on this project, I learned a lot about how the human brain functions and how it reacts to different stimuli, and also interviewing and learning about what makes toxic people so toxic was interesting. Learning about their mindset and why they choose to blame who they choose to blame. Overall, I think this project was a success, and I am very satisfied with it.
Hey, my name's Anthony Edkunda, and I'm going to explain 6 months of work to you in 2.5 minutes. These 6 months of work, aka the personal project, is a mandatory student-centered learning experience. Mine was reprogenetics and designer babies. In my project, I focus on figuring out how increasing knowledge and technological developments will change the ways human beings reproduce. After conducting the research, I wrote a speech and had a sort of TED talk with my classmates and the DP1 students. From this TED talk, I was able to receive feedback from the students, and then I wrote about the whole process in a 3,500 word report. So in the personal project, each student is allowed to improve their skills in anything that they choose. But the main thing is that you have to make sure that you justify that it's challenging, and you have to connect it to a global context. And global contexts are 6 contexts that the IB relates all knowledge that we learn to, in order to allow us, the students, to think further and in a larger scope than we usually would. I choose the global context of scientific and technical innovations because it has clear links to my topic of inquiry it like looking through my topic from the lens of scientific and technical innovation. I looked at how humans have modified the natural world and its processes to satisfy their needs, and how this process can impact society. And by that process, I mean reproduction. So I was looking at how humans change their reproductive cycles to suit their needs, basically. And my goal was to conduct research and analyze the innovations in reprogenetics and designer babies and what impacts they may have on life in the future. It involved using critical thinking skills, creative thinking skills, and other ATL skills. I was pretty pleased with my product, but now that I've reflected and I've evaluated my project and the whole process, I am able to appreciate the strengths and take note of the weaknesses so that I can make better work in the future. Thanks.
It's currently 12:30 in the morning. This is very tiring. Well, I'm finally done with my personal project. Hey everyone, my name is Lani, and for my personal project, I created a website about space and the universe. The title of my website was Space and the Universe. The global context that I incorporated in this personal project was scientific and technical innovation, more about why will be included later. The aim of my project was to create a website that would help primary and secondary students to explore and learn more about space and to actually be interested in it. Here on the top right, you can see how my website was structured. I used Wix.com to achieve it, and I'm very satisfied with it. I talked about a wide range of topics such as the solar system, stars, black holes, and the end of the universe. I really liked what I did, although I would have preferred to have added a few more videos and animations to the pictures I already had. What I learned from the personal project and this whole process after I completed it is how certain things can affect you in your life, and certain things that you've never thought of can impact your life. Due to the focus questions of the global context, I learned that we're so tiny compared to this vast universe, and that how the earth rotating around the sun can determine whether we live or we die. I also learned how different skills such as social skills, communication skills, and research skills can all affect you very deeply. And don't procrastinate. Thank you and goodbye.
Hey, my name is Isabel and I'm in MYP5, which means that I did and completed the personal project. The title for my personal project was Comparative Study on the Artwork of Ancient Egypt and Ancient South Africa. My global context for my personal project was personal and cultural expression. Now, when I was doing it, my aim was to compare and contrast the different various aspects of the art forms in ancient Egypt and ancient South Africa, then make a painting based off the observations that I made throughout the period of doing it. Doing the personal project was quite a rigorous and tiring process, given that everything had to be time-bound, and because of the current corona restrictions, the time was shortened by a lot, and we had also started it late. We did have to first make a goal for the personal project, and we had to go through all the planning procedures, which we spent quite a long time doing, and ended up having very short time for doing the actual part of the personal project, like the reports and the product of the personal project. Of course, we had stuff, but in the end, I would say that I was quite satisfied with my project, given the process and the time that I had taken into it. And seeing from how far I had gone, it was refreshing seeing what I had done. But a lesson from the personal project that I have taken, that I think most of the class has taken, I think everyone needs to see here, is planning your time well really does help. Planning your time from the very, very beginning. A lot of people think that they can keep just casting everything aside for the next day, but the next day will come and you're going to have double the work to do because you have cast it aside and you haven't planned it well. I haven't planned. So planning, being time bound, the best way you can start with your work being at the very least presentable and make sense. And yeah, that is my whole experience from the personal project. And to those who are going to do the personal project now, I wish you the best of luck, and it is possible and doable as long as you put your head to it. Thank you.
My name is Jade and I'm presenting to you a brief introduction to the personal project. This project is an opportunity to personalize your own learning and become independent while inquiring and finding answers, and you have to complete 3 essential parts for it to be successful. The first one is the product or the outcome, which is the evidence of the results of your project, and the second one is the process channel, which is just a record of all the ideas you had when doing this project. Lastly is the final report, which gives an account of the project and includes your bibliography and evidence from the process channel as appendices. And when writing this report, 4 criteria are assessed: investigation, planning, taking action, and reflection. You must also identify a global context for the project to establish to help direct learning towards independent inquiry, and you have to choose from the list below: identities and relationships, orientation in space and time, personal and cultural expression, scientific and technical innovation, globalization and sustainability, fairness and development. I chose globalization and sustainability because it helped me to focus on the interconnectedness of human-made systems and communities and societal decision-making, which guided me through research and looking at how different systems and groups of people are connected, while also looking at the effects of the coronavirus pandemic in South Africa, as well as how South Africans dealt with the pandemic in terms of the education sector. I chose to research and learn how the coronavirus pandemic has affected the economy of South African schools, and thereafter write a report to represent and show my findings, showing clear cause and effect and proposing possible solutions. And I chose to do this because I saw the need to find out how schools can continue to operate during this pandemic. My final report was a 19-page report titled Coronavirus in South Africa. And even though I felt like my product could have been done better, I am still content with what I managed to create because it was based on all the criteria and I was able to follow the plan that I set out to achieve. And through this project, I was able to learn more about the coronavirus pandemic, as well as different economic activities and businesses run in South Africa and how they were affected by the pandemic. Thank you.
Personal project, my title is Green Energy, which is also known as renewable energy. My global context is globalization and sustainability. This is because it covers a global issue and also shows how a country or a place can be more sustainable. The specific part of my project that is linked with this global context is that my project focuses on how a community, city can develop technology-wise without harming the environment. So, what was my aim for my project? My aim was to use 3-dimensional design to visualize my ideas that were shown in the model, and also to educate people about renewable energy. In my model, I used 3 types of energy, which are wind energy, solar energy, and hydroelectric energy. Later, this energy is stored in the form of electric current. This electricity is now called green energy. It can be used to invent new products that can help eliminate harmful products. For example, petrol and coal. Instead, the green energy can be used to invent electric cars, electric ovens, and more. So, was I satisfied with my product? Yes, because I made a criteria at the starting of my project, which was going to use at the end of my model to assess it. First of all, I think I met the criterias. This is because under research skills, I use multiple sources along with consulting different students, teachers, websites, videos, images, and textbooks. Whereas for designing skills, I used a lot of research to make sense of each monument and their deeper meaning to why they're part of the product. Then, innovation skills, I think I design the model that has meaning in every aspect of the product and easily portrays a highly challenging goal. Finally, under communication skills, I got meaning out of every item on my model and portrayed its meaning. So, what did I learn? I learned how the ecosystem can be affected by acid rain. I also learned how a real life eco friendly city can operate. I learned how acid rain is formed. And I also learned how global warming is caused into depth.
Hello, my name is Nueri Guy, and for my personal project, I created a cookbook that I named Easy Cooking. My global context was culture and personal expression. Why? Because culture and personal expressions explores culture and personal ideas that are shown in different ways, and I have shown it through my cookbook because I included dishes from different countries, different regions, and the history of the dish and a bit of information. The aim for my project was so that I can be able to present a cookbook to my classmates, my teacher, to the IB of the dishes that I love and the dishes that I've been cooking, and my classmates have been asking for recipes. So I decided to make a cookbook for my personal project. For my process, in the beginning I noted down the dishes that I want to include in my cookbook. Then I went and did more research, gathered them in my process journal, and then I created a cookbook that you guys can see in front of you. I divided my cookbook into 3 sections: the starters, the main dish, and the desserts. And the desserts, I made sure from every region that I included a main dish and a dessert for it. Am I satisfied with my project? Yes, totally I am, because it's my first time creating a cookbook, and I feel like it was the best choice for me because I love cooking so much, and this has given me the opportunity to maybe in the future I could improve my cookbook for something else. And I have learned a lot through making this cookbook because I have found out the origins of the dishes, how they were made a long time ago, and different countries that have similar dishes but have different names, maybe a bit of different ingredients, but they have this that are technically the same thing. Like for the tami and the dim sum, which is dim sum is in Korean, but in Chinese it's called dumplings. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name's Kadri, and I'm from MYP5, and for my personal project, I chose to create mental illness awareness in teenagers. I chose this topic because I can relate to it, and learning about human nature is interesting to me. For my personal project, I chose identities and relationship as my global context. Looking at this global context, we explore questions such as who am I, who are we, and what does it mean to be human? When looking at these questions, we are provoked into exploring the core features of being human, which include spiritual, physical, and mental health. The purpose of my project was to educate people on mental illnesses and how they affect teenagers in specific. Personally, I feel like many people and healthcare systems around the world neglect or under-prioritize mental illnesses and mental health in general. And due to this unpreparedness, healthcare systems lack adequate resources to help when faced with people who suffer these illnesses. And as well as a teenager, I am aware of the many social, personal, spiritual, and religious pressures that teenagers face that are not spoken on enough and should be spoken on more. How it went. The process of the personal project started in December, where I was able to create research questions, and over the 3 months of January, February, and March, I was able to conduct my research based on the questions I had earlier formulated and put my research into a TED Talk format presentation, and lastly, presented in March. I chose to present my work in a TED Talk format because I thought a visual presentation, also live, would be more influential to my audience. The personal project helped me work on my research skills because I was able to analyze and synthesize information from different websites. The project also helped me create awareness on a topic neglected by many. It also helped me understand how mental illnesses can affect teenagers. This knowledge is helpful to me because it can help me understand what me and my peers could be going through and possible ways of dealing with it. The personal project also helped me understand my weaknesses and my strength. By challenging me to complete different tasks, I was able to recognize procrastination as one of my biggest weaknesses, which is something I need to work on. During research as well, I discovered that I enjoy exploring such topics and understanding people of my age, which is in a way a strength. And that was it for my personal project, and thank you for your time. Bye.
Hi, I am Rushan server. This is me practicing screw spin or backspin. This spin is basically used by the professionals for safety shots or potable shots, but mostly safety shots. I learned this spin in 3 days. This is the result that I got. I used slow-mo version to show a better outcome. So you can see I'm gonna hit the cue ball downwards for making the spin happen. Yeah, just like that. This will make your cue ball spin backwards, and this will called as a backspin or a screw spin. It's mostly used as a safety shot. This is me practicing follow spin or top spin. This is mostly used to pot the balls. This is my result. As you can see, I will hit the cue ball on the top for making the cue ball follow the striker ball. Like this. It's mostly used to pot the balls. This spin took me less days to practice than the screw spin. As we saw that both spins are different. Top spin follows the ball, yet screw spin makes the cue ball spin backwards. This is the in-game situation of the spins, as I wanted to show my viewers an in-game situation, how the spins can be used in a game situation. I used both the spins to showcase what I actually meant by the spins, or how they can be used in a game situation. I use screw spin for safety shot and top spin for potting ball and getting points. Welcome to the Drake Show. This was the most fun part of my whole journey of snooker, as I never used trick shots and I've never played trick shot ever before. I enjoyed this part a lot as I learned new tricks and can impress my friends. I learned new spin, which is usually used to break snookers. Snookers are when the playable ball is not playable. This was an amazing journey. Personal project gave me a chance to explore things and explore what snooker is. I wanted to learn snooker a long time ago. Personal project gave me a chance to dig deeper in global context. I learned more about personal and cultural expression because it was my global context. It gave me a wider opportunity to explore things and snooker. I improved a lot in snooker because of personal project, as I learned spins and got an ability of concentrating and thinking critically. It gave me a chance to become a better player, and indeed I am a better player now. I enjoyed my journey, I cannot forget it. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it.
Hello, my name is Sanya, and today I'm going to be talking about my personal project. My personal project was based on redecorating and renovating my room. Over here, you can see my personal project report. The title of my personal project was Room Renovation, and the global context I went with was personal and cultural expression because this context explores how different ideas and cultures come into play when I'm expressing myself. This context just studies the way individuals look back on creativity and just appreciate aesthetics in general. The aim slash goal of my project was to experience the way professional home renovators make calculations to determine what looks good in a room and has mass aesthetics and a mood board to a real life vision. This is just basically like experiencing the way interior decorators go about doing this every day for a living and making aesthetics visually pleasing in a mood board. Most important steps in my project were creating a task list to be organized about what I have to do. And planning out the furniture designs and sketches and making a mood board to determine my aesthetic and vibe for the room. Making a mood board was very important because it just was the foundation of the whole product, my inspiration, and it just set the tone for the project. For satisfaction, I was really satisfied with my product. You can see over the result for my room. That was the before and that's the after. And I feel really satisfied because my project reflects who I am as a person and it fits my aesthetic really well. The space is a showcase of how much I've learned in the renovation world, and I'm really happy with the way it's been executed. Overall, I learned about like how each project is different and there's a different way to tackle each project. And following the criterion in this project was the most important thing I had to do, and that was one of the biggest things I had to learn. And I learned a few organizational and time management skills because this project was very like punctual and stuff. So yeah, thank you.
Hey, my name is Vaishnavi. The topic I chose for my personal project was dance. The global context I picked was personal and cultural expressions. I thought this was an appropriate global context because it's a way of expressing my ideas and my interests. The aim of the project was to learn a dance sequence in the contemporary dance style using different reliable sources. I used sources such as YouTube videos, websites, and I also asked for a little advice from my former dance trainer. The process. I started off by picking a couple of songs I was going to dance to. I used songs I really enjoyed. I searched my wardrobe for an appropriate outfit. I came up with my outfit from scratch. I organized my time and planned out on what I was going to do for the next couple of weeks. Then I started working on the writing part of the project, the report. Here's a preview of my final product. I was quite satisfied with the final product. I was happy with the outfit I put together, and the dance steps came out well too. I do think I could have put in a little bit more energy to make the dance look more lively and more elegant and graceful. Things I learned while doing the personal project. I learned how to manage my time. I learned how to organize my work. I learned how to work efficiently and quickly, but producing quality work. And I also learned how to plan out my work according to my schedule. Thank you.